Hello, friends! Welcome to our channel, where we dive deep into the world of literature, uncover the secrets of beloved books, and explore the lives of their creators. Today, we're embarking on an epic journey through the works of George R.R. Martin, the mastermind behind A Song of Ice and Fire, with a special focus on Game of Thrones, The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and Fire Blood. These books transport us to Westeros, a gritty, vibrant world of political intrigue, dragons, brutal battles, and the relentless fight for the Iron Throne. From the jaw-dropping twists of Game of Thrones to the heartfelt adventures of Dunk and Egg, and the sweeping history of the Targaryens in Fire Blood, Martin's works have captivated millions. And let's not forget the Game of Thrones HBO series, a global phenomenon that sparked endless debates. How did Martin create this intricate world? What challenges did he face? What hidden meanings lie within his pages? How does the TV series differ from the books? And what are some fascinating facts about Martin, his books, and the show that will surprise you? In this video, we'll cover it all, from Martin's biography to the creation of his works, from deep themes and symbolism to a detailed comparison of the books and the TV series. We'll share tons of intriguing facts about Game of Thrones, The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Fire Blood, and Martin himself, plus explore why the show took a different path. This is going to be a long but thrilling ride through the Seven Kingdoms, so grab a coffee, tea, or maybe a glass of Dornish wine, get comfy, and let's dive into Westeros. If you love these deep dives into literature, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our content. It really helps us keep bringing you epic videos like this. Before we start, let me ask, have you read Martin's books? Who's your favorite character, Tyrion, Daenerys, Arya, or someone else? Did you watch the Game of Thrones series? And what did you think of its finale? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I can't wait to hear them. Now, let's head to Westeros. Part 1, Who was George R.R. Martin? Biography and context. Early years, growing up in Bayonne. George Raymond Richard Martin was born on September 20, 1948, in Bayonne, New Jersey, USA, to a working-class family. His father, Raymond Collins Martin, was a longshoreman at the docks, and his mother, Margaret, was a homemaker. Growing up in a modest neighborhood near the waterfront shaped young George's imagination. He spent hours watching ships come and go, dreaming of far-off worlds. This sense of adventure fueled his early stories. As a kid, Martin devoured comic books about the X-Men and Fantastic Four, as well as science fiction by Ray Bradbury and Robert A. Heinlein. In school, he wrote monster stories and sold them to classmates for pennies, showcasing his storytelling flair from an early age. Education was Martin's ticket out of poverty. He enrolled at Northwestern University in Illinois, earning a bachelor's degree, 1970, and a master's degree, 1971, in journalism. During college, he began publishing short stories in student magazines, and by the 1970s, his work appeared in professional sci-fi outlets like Analog and Galaxy. His love for literature was vast, spanning J.R.R. Tolkien's epic fantasy, whom critics later called his predecessor, to historical novels about medieval England, which heavily influenced the creation of Westeros. Early career, from sci-fi to Hollywood. In the 1970s, Martin gained recognition as a science fiction writer. His short stories, like A Song for Laia, 1974, and Sand Kings, 1979, won prestigious Hugo and Nebula Awards, cementing his reputation in literary circles. He was also inspired by historical fiction, particularly about medieval England, which shaped the gritty realism of A Song of Ice and Fire. The Wars of the Roses, a 15th-century English conflict between the Lancasters and Yorks, became a key influence for his epic series. In the 1980s, Martin moved to Hollywood, working as a writer for TV shows like The Twilight Zone and Beauty and the Beast. This experience honed his ability to craft dynamic plots, sharp dialogue, and work under tight deadlines. However, Hollywood's constraints, budget cuts, censorship, and limited creative freedom frustrated him. Martin yearned to tell grand, unrestricted stories, which led him back to novels where he could unleash his full vision. The birth of A Song of Ice and Fire. In 1991, Martin began writing Game of Thrones, the first book in A Song of Ice and Fire. His goal was to create a fantasy series that broke genre cliches, instead of clear-cut heroes and villains. He crafted complex characters with morally gray motivations. For example, Tyrion Lannister isn't just a noble outcast but a flawed, cunning figure battling prejudice. Martin drew inspiration from the Wars of the Roses, as well as Walter Scott's novels, Medieval Chronicles, and Dragon Myths. When Game of Thrones was published in 1996, it wasn't an instant bestseller but earned critical praise. With each subsequent book, A Clash of Kings, 1998, A Storm of Swords, 2000, A Feast for Crows, 2005, and A Dance with Dragons, 2011, the series' popularity soared, especially after the HBO adaptation. Personal life and personality. Martin is a charismatic figure with a sense of humor and a passion for creativity. He's an avid fan of medieval history, American football, supporting the New York Giants and Jets, and collects knight and dragon figurines. In 2011, he married his longtime partner, Paris McBride. After decades together, Martin is active on his blog and social media, engaging with fans, though he often faces criticism for delays on The Winds of Winter. His openness and dedication to his craft have made him a beloved figure, despite controversies. Influence on his work. Martin's Hollywood experience shaped his ability to write dramatic scenes and dialogue. His childhood dreams of distant worlds became Westeros, and his love for history added authenticity. For instance, the tournaments in The Night of the Seven Kingdoms are rooted in real medieval customs, while the political intrigues of Game of Thrones mirror historical power struggles. Hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive into Martin's life, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss our literary adventures. Part 2, The Creation of Game of Thrones, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and Fireblood, 4000 to 5000 words. Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, Birth of an Epic. A Song of Ice and Fire is a series of 5 published books: Game of Thrones, 1996, A Clash of Kings, 1998, A Storm of Swords, 2000, A Feast for Crows, 2005, A Dance with Dragons, 2011, with 2 planned, The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring. Set in Westeros, the story follows noble families, Starks, Lannisters, Baratheons, vying for the Iron Throne after King Robert's death. Meanwhile, Daenerys Targaryen raises dragons in the east, and White Walkers threaten from the north. The narrative unfolds through multiple points of view, offering perspectives from characters like Arya Stark and Cersei Lannister. Inspiration. Martin drew heavily from the Wars of the Roses, 1455 to 1487, with the Lannisters echoing the cunning Lancasters and the Starks resembling the honorable Yorks. He also incorporated elements from Walter Scott's novels, Medieval Chronicles, and dragon mythology. Unlike Tolkien's clear moral divides, Martin aimed for realism, with gritty wars and complex politics. For example, the Red Wedding in A Storm of Swords was inspired by historical events like the Black Dinner in Scotland, 1440. Writing challenges. Writing A Song of Ice and Fire was a monumental task due to its scope. Martin originally planned a trilogy, but the story expanded to 7 books, with hundreds of characters and interwoven plotlines. It required meticulous planning. Martin's gardener writing style, letting the story grow organically, led to delays. For instance, A Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons were split due to their massive size. The Winds of Winter remains unpublished due to the challenge of tying together all arcs. Fan pressure, amplified by the TV series' success, further complicated his process. Fascinating facts. Red Wedding. This shocking scene was inspired by the Black Dinner, 1440, and the Glencoe Massacre, 1692. Tyrion's role. Martin has called Tyrion his favorite character for his wit and vulnerability. Martin's test. He suggests reading the first 9 chapters of Game of Thrones. If they don't hook you, the series isn't for you. The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, Adventures of Dunk and Egg. The Night of the Seven Kingdoms is a collection of 3 novellas: The Hedge Knight, 1998, The Sworn Sword, 2003, The Mystery Knight, 2010. Set 90 years before Game of Thrones, they follow Dunk, a hedge knight, and his squire Egg, the future King Aegon V. Targaryen. The novellas have a lighter, world depth. The book details the Targaryens' history and dragons, explaining their impact on Westeros. For Daenerys fans, it reveals the origins of her power and the Targaryen legacy. Adaptation. Fireblood inspired HBO's House of the Dragon. Fascinating facts. Unique format, written as a history with conflicting accounts, it feels authentic. Dragons. Each dragon, like Balerion the Black Dread, has a distinct personality. Second volume. Martin plans a second volume, but its release hinges on the Winds of Winter. Challenges. Writing Fireblood required crafting a detailed history consistent with A Song of Ice and Fire. Martin faced criticism from fans expecting the winds of winter instead of side projects. Loving this dive into Martin's Westeros? Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to join us for more epic literary journeys. Part 3, Plot and Hidden Meanings. Plot Overview. Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire in Westeros. Noble houses, Starks, Lannisters, Baratheons, vie for the Iron Throne after King Robert's death. Eddard Stark uncovers a secret about the succession, sparking war. Meanwhile, Daenerys Targaryen raises dragons in the east, and White Walkers threaten from the north. The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Dunk, a Hedge Knight, and his squire Egg travel Westeros, facing tournaments, intrigues, and civil wars. Fireblood chronicles the Targaryen dynasty, from Aegon I's conquest to the Dance of the Dragon civil war, focusing on dragons and power struggles. Key themes. Power and its cost. In Game of Thrones, the Iron Throne symbolizes power but destroys those who seek it. Cersei, Joffrey. In Fireblood, the Targaryens lose their dragons due to infighting. In The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Dunk chooses honor over power. Moral ambiguity. Martin crafts characters with grey morality. Tyrion is witty but vengeful. Daenerys is a liberator but prone to cruelty. Dunk in The Knight is idealistic but fallible. War and its consequences. Wars in Game of Thrones weaken Westeros against the White Walkers. The Dance of the Dragons in Fireblood decimates the Targaryens. In The Knight, wars affect common folk, whom Dunk protects. Fate and choice. Characters face moral dilemmas. Daenerys sacrifices her son for Drogo but loses everything. Egg in The Knight balances duty and friendship. Hidden meanings. Martin uses Westeros as a mirror for the real world. Game of Thrones critiques political corruption and the lust for power, showing how they fracture society. Fireblood portrays the Targaryens as a cautionary tale of hubris. The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms celebrates humanity in a harsh world. Historical influences, like the Wars of the Roses and the Fall of Dynasties, add depth. Martin also explores feminist themes through characters like Arya and Daenerys, who challenge patriarchal norms. If you're hooked on these themes, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to catch all our deep dives into your favorite stories. Part 4, Comparing the Game of Thrones series with the books. Key differences. The Game of Thrones HBO series, 2011 to 2019, adapted A Song of Ice and Fire, but after outpacing the books in Season 5, creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss forged their own path. Here are the main differences. Simplified plots. The books have complex arcs omitted in the show. For example, Lady Stoneheart, resurrected Catelyn Stark, plays a role in A Feast for Crows but is absent from the series. Young Griff, a potential Aegon Targaryen, is also missing. Character arcs. Sansa Stark's book arc focuses on political intrigue in the Vale, not her show storyline with Ramsay Bolton. Daenerys' book arc delves deeper into her internal conflict over power. Tone and detail. The books offer rich psychological depth through inner monologues. The series adds dramatic scenes, like Khal Drogo's fight with Mago, which isn't in the books. Ending. With The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring unpublished, the show crafted its own finale. Bran becoming king and Daenerys burning King's Landing sparked controversy, as Martin hinted at a different trajectory. Why the series differs. Format and budget. The show simplified scenes due to budget constraints, e.g., 100 fires in the books became 6 in the series. Creative freedom. After surpassing the books, the creators improvised based on Martin's outlines, leading to a rushed finale. Audience appeal. The series targeted a broader audience, emphasizing action and sex over the book's political and psychological depth. Martin praised early seasons but criticized later divergences, particularly the finale, which didn't align with his vision. Fascinating facts about the series. Global phenomenon. Game of Thrones became the most pirated show in history, reflecting its massive popularity. Filming locations, shot in Northern Ireland, Croatia, and Spain for their medieval landscapes. Emmy wins. The series won 59 Emmy Awards, a record for a drama, including for acting and visual effects. Fan backlash. A petition to remake Season 8 garnered over 1.8 million signatures. Enjoying this breakdown of books versus show? Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay in the loop for more epic content. Part 5. Fascinating facts about the books and author. Character mistake. Martin admitted to accidentally killing a character needed for the Winds of Winter, delaying the book. Comic book influence. Martin's childhood love for comics shaped vivid characters like Tyrion, who feels like a flawed superhero. Historical parallels. The Red Wedding draws from the Black Dinner, 1440, and Glencoe Massacre, 1692. Dragons. In Fireblood, each dragon, like Vhagar, has a unique personality, inspired by mythological grandeur. Martin's Theater. Martin owns the Jean Cocteau Cinema in Santa Fe, hosting literary events. If these facts blew your mind, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to never miss our literary deep dives. Part 6, Impact and Legacy. A Song of Ice and Fire redefined fantasy, making it more realistic and political. The Night of the Seven Kingdoms added humanity to Westeros, while Fire Blood expanded its history. The Game of Thrones series became a cultural juggernaut, influencing fashion, memes, and tourism. Croatia and Ireland saw tourism booms. House of the Dragon continued the legacy, and the upcoming A Night of the Seven Kingdoms will further expand the world. Martin's works inspired authors like Neil Gaiman and created global fan communities. Loved exploring Westeros with us? Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to join our community of book lovers. Conclusion. Friends, George R.R. Martin's works are more than books, they're a vivid world that challenges us to reflect on power, morality, and humanity. Game of Thrones shocks with its intrigues, The Night of the Seven Kingdoms charms with its simplicity, and Fire Blood awes with its scope. If you haven't read them yet, now's the perfect time to dive into Westeros. Share your favorite book, character, or moment in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for joining me on this epic journey. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our content. It means the world to us. What book or author should we cover?